Hello and welcome to episode 32 of chapter 1. We're already off topic. 3 women, 1 podcast, and 1 collective migraine trying to understand the magic system. I'm Mary.
Catherine.
I'm Elizabeth.
And this week we are covering chapters 1 through 6 of Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang, which is another standalone for those of us with commitment issues or just knee deep in need a break from the 3 to 9 book series that you have. This one's actually been on my TBR for, well, pretty much since it came out. So it's been a minute. So I'm kind of excited to actually finally be getting to it. But before we start talking about it, what does everyone have?
So we are having, it's rainy outside today and it was a little chilly. So we are tapping into our fall vibes. This is a brown sugar cinnamon pumpkin tea situation.
It's delicious.
It's very good. It's a tea latte. And then I was running out of time, so we each get 1 Earl Grey cookie that I had left over from yesterday. And then I made chocolate chip cookies, like right before we popped on here, because the day got away. Because I was telling them I procrastinated because I was like, oh, it's just 6 chapters. What? And then I started reading it last night. And I didn't read for very long because I was super tired because yesterday was also crazy. And so I did the brunt of my reading today. So I'm reading it and I'm like...
And then trying to get the magic system. And
I was like, I messed up. I messed up big time.
This is math.
Well, then it took me forever because I'm like, why are we reading about this guy and now we're into this girl? It's doesn't even make sense.
It started off with a bang.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I like it so far.
I like it so far, but I was like, wait, God, I'm so confused. And but I got there. I think
she did it. So. I did it on Sunday. I got my reading caught up Sunday, so I'm good.
Yeah. Anyway, what are you having? I'm sorry.
I made some raspberry white chocolate muffins today because I needed something simple. Good. And then I am doing a cranberry orange hibiscus tea.
That sounds delicious.
This is leftovers of those samples we had from the tea house. I'm still going through them. I'm just living on this loose leaf tea.
See, we're all feeling different seasons because I feel like that's giving kind of wintry vibes, and this is giving fall.
Well, I had raspberries and I had white chocolate. And this was just I had this one and I had a blackberry tea, but it was a black tea. And I just didn't know if I could have that much more caffeine today. I've had a lot. I was very tired this morning. So
the past 2 days, I don't know if I'm just diving head first into my luteal phase, but the past 2 days.
I feel like you were just in your luteal phase.
Me too.
It comes around fast. It comes around fast. Because there's no way, because let me say, hold on. Let me just pull out my little handy dandy calendar here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm on day 16, so I think that's luteal. I'm pretty sure that's luteal. So here we are. So the past 2 days, I've just been, even yesterday, I was just, I was the grumpy cat emoji. I was just not about it. And then we had to go grocery shopping, and I think that was the fastest grocery trip I've ever done because I was just we're getting out of here. But then, of course, we did get sidetracked because Christopher found a cow tongue and he really wanted to show it to me. He thought it was very gross. He said he would never eat one.
I wasn't grumpy, but I left the house for the first time in a while. Not a while. I went out over the weekend. But, I usually don't go out during the week much, to do anything because I'm a hermit crab. But I went to Hobby Lobby because I needed more yarn so I could start the blanket for the ball. And I got very overstimulated very fast. And I left.
By the yarn or by the people? Or both?
Just by life. Just being out. There was people, there was yarn, I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't take much. I mean, you've met me in a crowd. I don't particularly care for them.
You do good at the Ren Fair.
Yeah, as long as we're all flowing in one direction, I guess.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. So,
let's do it to it.
As the story begins, we get introduced to, I'm going to screw up the pronunciation because later she tries to tell you how to pronounce. So when I started the book, I was pronouncing it Tomil, but then she later in the book is the meal, but not the, duh.
You pronounce the because he even says you put the T, at the top of your tongue.
So is it
because she said
meal?
Because she said duh meal, and he was like, no, th. You put the tongue on the top of your teeth. Thumbeel. So you pronounce the TH. I was like, Tommel. I was straight up Tommel.
I thought it was Domil. But then
I did Tamil.
I don't know. Yeah.
But it's
so,
the meal.
Thommel?
Tomo,
And-
Tamil, I don't know. I'm over here like Thomas, Tommy. I'm definitely
Big
no
two.
better.
We get introduced to him.
Yeah.
We get sort of an immediate sense of place because like he's wearing this wolf skin, he's been out scouting, like you can tell it's like really cold there, and they're on this like vastly frozen land called Quen. And Tomil and his people, I'm also going to pronounce this wrong, the Kaldane, are waiting to cross a lake, of which there are only like 40 people left of his tribe, and there used to be like tens of thousands of them. So we can figure out pretty quick that they have not had a particularly easy go of it lately, and something seems to be causing all these people to die. So Tamil's only family left is his sister, her husband, and their daughter, and they're all together with him as they attempt to cross this frozen lake as they're trying to escape the blight. Honestly, this first chapter was like really terrifying and sad and sort of set the tone for like what we were
freaking ride. Reading it,
Right.
I'm like, what is happening? Like,
Well,
why are we on the lake? Is it only on the lake? Like,
First chapter, everybody dies. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be great. Let's keep going.
Yeah, so like all these people, they're racing across the frozen lake. It could crack at any moment. You're fighting freezing cold air, seeping into their lungs as they're trying to run. They've got this blight, which just is kind of described as this like strange light that's kind of like deathly magic. And when it touches them, they die. And it's like, and
they die
so
horrifically.
yeah, and it's like they have all of these threats, and yet none of these threats are something you can have. You can't carry a sword. There's no defense against any of these things. Like, how are you going to stop drowning in the frozen lake that cracks? How are you going to stop the cold from seeping into your lungs? How are you going to stop this weird magic that just comes out of nowhere and just like touches you and you're dead? It's like a roll the dice situation, and they're just all running. And I was like, this is horrific. As they're running, Neil sees his people are just dying left and right. First by the blight, and then the lake ends up cracking. And his brother-in-law who's carrying his niece, Kara, he's hit by the blight and goes down. And before he dies, he passes the daughter off to Tamil's sister, who the daughter gets touched on the face by the blight, but she's apparently alive, but just unconscious. But he knows that his sister can't carry that extra weight and make it across the lake as well, so he offers to
She's
carry
also
the
sobbing on top of it.
Yes, and panicking because her husband just died in front of her, horrifically.
Right, like she is like a mess.
So he takes the little girl. Meanwhile, as they continue to run, the ice then does crack and it swallows up. The lake just swallows up his sister. Her sister drowns, but before she drowns, she like scrambles up enough to scream at him to run because he's just now also losing it. Yes. And so Tamil carrying Kara, they're the only ones who make it out alive and make it across the lake, and they go through to this other side through this magical barrier into another set of lands. So they came from this land called Quen, and it was like this frozen tundra, and as she describes it in the book, they cross over into what she describes as pure spring. So I'm picturing sunshine and warmth and just like the complete opposite of what he came out of, because he also
It made me think of Zootopia when you go through the sorry.
well, it's almost like, you think of this frozen tundra, it's almost like a black and white setting, like in shades of gray. And then to me, it's like it's like a Wizard of Oz where it's like goes from like the black and white to like the color. That's what it kind of felt like, especially because he's coming from this like very harsh nomadic life. And then he crosses in and he's like, there's pavement. It's very modern. It's very industrial. There's big, tall buildings and metal and gears and just like this very different world than what he's used to. So immediately upon entering, he's approached by guards of this new land, which is called Tehran. And they immediately start discussing whether or not he's able to work. And they see that the girl is unconscious. They kind of assume she's dead already. But then when he's like, she's not dead, they're discussing whether she should be thrown back, which is going to kill her, or if she should just be killed and left. But apparently this new land is also very deeply religious. And even if they're quite xenophobic, they won't separate parents from their children. So Tomil immediately claims that Kara is his daughter to protect her, which is really hard for him because he's lost his sister and his brother-in-law. He's lost all his family. He's lost all of his people. And now he feels like he's taking something, else by doing that. And the guards end up saying that, okay, you can go to the camp together. And we immediately get the sense that, of course, these people are also segregated, they're discriminated against, and they're like treated with complete hostility that are coming over. And so Tamil and Kara, the literal last surviving of the Caldana people, are like just stuck in this new city where these people don't particularly care for them. And I was like, what an opening chapter.
Agreed.
It was rough.
And then we just go in, and then you're in it, and you just go in like a new person.
Well, and
and for a while I was like, are we gonna get to see Tamil again? We still haven't seen Kara.
how big was that lake? Do you remember? Was it like a mile run or 2 miles for them?
No, it was,
I feel like
it was a good little run.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It wasn't fast.
Well,
I was like, man, I'd still be out there.
It was
me.
It was described so well because he was talking about how the cold air was burning his lungs and he couldn't breathe, but he just had to keep running because he couldn't stop. Which the blight apparently is a problem everywhere. It's just where he's at now in Tehran. They have this like kind of like under the dome Stephen King situation happening, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
where they built this.
They know that the dome did not come from. Well, I don't want to spoil that. Hold on.
Don't spoil it.
Have you read?
Because it's the worst ending ever.
If
Jesus
you read a
Christ,
King book,
Stephen.
you can
Get
kinda
a better
guess where
ending.
The dome came from. But in this book, the dome was purposeful and came from magic.
Block out the blight. So we go into chapter 2 and we lose Tamil, right? We're in like a whole new point of view. We get Sayana, which is that how you guys were pronouncing her name?
What'd you say?
Sayana.
I think so.
I don't know. Yeah, sure. I don't know.
I don't even remember.
I'm gonna be honest. I was reading it and I was like, that girl. Like it was just like I would see it and that's her name.
I think it was Sion or
Well,
Sayana.
what was killing me is her last name is apparently very similar because her last name's like Frenyan or something. I don't know. I didn't write it down.
Freynan.
Freynan?
Freynan, yeah.
Yeah, but then there's another one that's like Farron, who's like one of the founding
Farron.
ones.
Isn't like one of the? Isn't there like a? Is it like a deity? Because they keep referring to it like.
Yeah, well, yeah, like the one's a deity, right? Like a god. Like for Freydon's sake, or
Yeah.
It's not Freynan. It's like
it's something like that.
Farron.
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 Farron's sake.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. All I know is whatever her name is, she's freaking cool.
One of us should have done the audiobook for this. We're gonna be like,
I don't know what her name is, but she is cool.
butchering all
I
the
like
names.
her.
Look, I'm over here. It's Tommy, bruh.
Tommy and Sion.
So Sayana
Or
is
if we're
anxious.
getting really, if you're going to be like that, what you can be like Skyana or Skiana or something if you wanted to do
Call
it
her
that
Sky
way.
at this point.
Sky.
Tommy and Sky.
All that to say, we don't know how we're pronouncing her name.
For the purpose of this program, we will be pronouncing her. I will be pronouncing her Sayana because that's how I did it the whole damn book so far. So
I would say Sayana sounds right.
okay.
If I were
she's
to pick a pronunciation.
She is anxiously getting ready to take an exam to become a high mage. No woman has ever passed the exam or become a high mage, and they only let them test like once every 10 years. And so if she fails, no woman's going to be able to test again for another 10 years. So
Wait,
she's feeling
some women had passed,
no.
right?
No one has ever passed.
No woman has ever passed. That's why it's such a big
She's
deal.
the first woman to pass.
But
She's the only woman.
But hold on,
Yes.
but didn't she say like the women that did pass ended up
They
just becoming
didn't-
teachers or something
No,
like that?
they didn't pass. They took the
They
exam,
didn't pass.
but they didn't pass.
And there's some that qualified to take the exam, but many just left to go become teachers or
Yeah. Yeah,
Got
and
it.
because you're right. She had that list of names of people she looked up to. But if they took the exam, they did not pass. And then, like Mary said,
There's probably going to be a lot of situations like this while
Yeah.
we do this recap, considering I read all of this today, and it's very
yeah,
difficult.
yeah,
Sorry.
she's the first
on.
woman in STEM.
So Tehran is not only prejudiced against foreigners, but also very sexist. Okay. So meanwhile, you've got Sayana and you've got her cousin, Alba, points out that Sayana doesn't really care about, because Sayana's kind of like in the beginning stressing about, like to Alba, about how important this exam is. It's important to women because if she fails, she's disappointing all these women. She's hurting women. She's hurting women in magic. She's hurting the future of women in magic, whatever. And Sayana don't pull no punches. She's like, you don't give two F's about other women. All you care about is yourself. Yes.
What
I actually really-
start to this book? I'm gonna be honest.
I actually really like Alba because she's sweet and kind, but she's also like, no, you're not gonna play those games with me. Like, let's be honest.
Like,
I mean,
like Ansel
Sayana,
brought you scones, girl.
like Sayana is right. She is right. She's paving the way for women, but that's also not the only reason she wants to take this exam and pass.
Yeah, and you
It's
see
for
that when
herself.
she's taking the exam. You're like, oh, girl.
She gets in the zone. I was like, I like her. I like her as a character.
She's
Ooh,
interesting.
Mary's got criticisms.
I like her.
Okay, we're gonna get there here in just a sec, because I was like, so it does become very clear pretty quickly as you get to know Sayana throughout the set of chapters that she's quite selfish. And while I do definitely want to throw hands for her on multiple occasions and jump through the book and strangle some characters who are coming up on my girl, and I'm like, but also I really wanted to slap her a lot, because as much as she is being discriminated against, she does the same thing repeatedly.
Tommy.
Dude, when I thought it was funny when that Mordra guy was up there, she was just like, yeah, he sucks. And I was like,
Like, she does it to a lesser extent, and to some extent she does have some self-awareness when she does it, and is like, that was rude. But other times she doesn't, and she very much has this very biased and prejudiced way of thinking. I'm like, girl, that's what they think of you. Do you not see the correlation?
yeah.
For someone so smart, sometimes she's a little dumb.
I felt bad for that Mordra guy. He can't help who his daddy is. And his daddy seemed very mad at him.
We
And I
don't
was
get
like,
a lot of him, so I'm not sure if it's like if we're
maybe he
supposed
does suck. I don't know, but I felt
I
bad
think
for him.
he
He was
sucks.
struggling.
I think he sucks.
Well, I don't know if he just like. I think he sucks at magic, but does he suck and he's aware he sucks? And because he kind of seemed like worried and nervous
Well,
and like.
the whole point
I felt bad
isn't
for
is
him.
he a good person. The whole point is he
Yeah.
should not. He's getting into a program that is very selective based off of who his daddy is.
Did he
and
make
that's
it?
the problem. Yes, he got in. He stole a spot from someone that was better than him. And
Yeah, but we don't know anything about him. We did get a little glimpse of Daddy there, and like he might not have had much of a choice.
I was going to say, could he turn it down? You know? Like,
well, I think he's kind of pressured to do the job. He's in it, but at the same time, I
And
mean,
how many times have people who are genuinely good people, but like they got promoted for reasons that maybe like they got, whether it was nepotism or favoritism or whatever, and they still took the position. It doesn't make them an inherently bad person.
reflection of him. It's not a reflection of him at all. He can be good or bad.
It's his
we
talent.
don't. It's not even that. It's the system. They had openings
yeah.
for 2, and the system is allowing this person to get a spot that overshadows someone that's better than him.
Yeah, it's
probably
wild.
Not even his fault, and whether he takes it or not is also not his fault. But it's the system allowing him to do it in the first place.
I'll be honest, I don't know how this land, this kingdom that they're in, or the city that they're in, is as advanced as they are, considering like some of the things that they have built into their institutions because of the heavy amount of nepotism, the heavy amount of sexism. Like, it's obvious that she runs across some stuff that we'll talk about as we get way further into it, because it's not until the later chapters that we run into, but it's like you see the mistakes that are being made because of that and some of those disasters, and they're being hidden and covered up. And I think we're going to get a lot more of that later. But I'm like, I'm shocked they're where they're at.
It's just
Surprised that train made
mind-blowing. This government of theirs, they have a big project where they have to expand the globe, or they have to expand their bubble.
Barrier.
They have to expand it. You have to have experienced magicians, if you will.
That's the
to
only
be
reason
able to
she got
do
it in
that.
is because of her talent.
And that's how Sayana. That's the only reason she got in was because she showed that she had the actual power to do it. And I'm like, okay, so they got her in, and then they let this little kid, because of his daddy, get in. And I'm like, that's why they're in the predicament that they're in. He's got a spot, and he's not worth it. I would just be pissed if he was my doctor. I would be like, how'd you get this position? Did you work hard for it, or did you know somebody?
I bet that granite really didn't break in two, did it? Wasn't equal, was it?
So for Sayana, it's very clear. All she seems to care about is like power, getting ahead, and achieving her goals. Meanwhile, completely ignoring everyone else around her. She ends up taking a train to the magistracy to take her exam. And it's explained that the entire city, its infrastructure, and the power grid is all run on energy. And that energy is produced by the mages, specifically kind of these high mages and these archmages. I'll also note that because I feel like it may become important in upcoming chapters, there's also a apparently some really big election that's happening at the same time. Some candidates are running on like, there's a woman candidate running on women's rights. There's another candidate running on like tradition and traditional roles. And then there's another one that's like, I'm for the people and the voice of the people. And it's really kind of glossed over because we're getting Sayana's point of view and she's not into politics. She's just aware it's happening. But I have a very heavy suspicion that politics are going to be super important later in this book.
I think this is going to be heavily political and religious related, which I love. I love that book. I love something that's very challenging and has to make you think. So it'll be fun.
Picks for sure. I know that them as a whole, they're very religious, and that's been mentioned. She kind of has that conversation, where she's kind of like defending the religion that she's.
Well, the religion.
There's two different kind of like.
Their religion is basically the politics
places
because
you can land on there.
They call this God is the one that created the space that they're living in, and they were given this power to this person. I mean, their religion is the politics. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The whole magic system is given to them.
I'm still fleshing that out in my brain.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
Also, maybe.
I'm like,
just like
I wasn't expecting her to like
magics.
be indignant about like because Tommy was like saying something to her like, I don't know, it's all the same to me, and she was just like, it's not the same. And I was just like, since when do you care?
But
like, I don't know. Like, I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, this, so
But she's got to realize he's not from there.
Yeah.
He doesn't know.
I was just surprised because thus far, she's been very like, I'm just eyes on the prize, baby. And then she's like, but let me defend my side of the religion real quick. I'm like, all right. Sorry, go ahead.
Hopefully Mary breaks it down. It's been a while since I've read it.
So the High Magistry exam is held in the University of Magics and Industry. Sayana's mentor, Archmage Dareth Brigham, is there to encourage her. During testing, Sayana ends up having to be the last to go, which is like the worst situation for her because she's like ready. She's like, put me in, coach. I'm ready. But instead we get Jaren Madra to go first. And while he pretty much sucks at all of the magic and all of the spells that he's being tested against, he's basically guaranteed a spot because his dad is also a high mage and one of the people doing that testing. But during that testing, you can tell his dad is actually really also the hardest one on him.
And that's nice.
But also nepotism. So it should be noted that there's also within this a heavy amount of classism that will be leaking in as well. Because we discover Sayana is from what's considered the common districts. She didn't grow up with money, and she attended
went to public school.
Yeah.
They made sure to talk about that.
Yeah. And then it wasn't until later.
In her interview.
Yeah.
Like they were like, excuse me, you went to Danworth? I'm like,
she's like, oh, I studied at this institution. They're like, but wait.
Before that, weren't you in public school?
They were trying to discredit her from the get-go. Like, come on.
So she did get selected for a scholarship based on her talent to one of the more prestigious academies later. But, you see a lot of this throughout the book kind of weaving its way in, whether it's these kind of like refugees that are held to an even lower section of class. And then you have like the poors, I guess, or the middle class or whatever Sayana would be involved in. And then you have, these educated upper class ones. So through these rounds of testing, all of the others, a few things become clear to the reader. One, Sayana is both confident and very skilled and talented at what she does, if not even just a little bit vain about it. And she's also very critical of everyone around and views them either as only competition or just less than. That's it. That's like where they fall.
She's like, I could write that spell in my sleep or like that, like whatever. And I'm like, dang, all right, well, but then she can do it. And it's just like, well.
I both was like simultaneously rooting for her and then also being like, girl,
look in there.
Here's the thing. This wasn't a power, this wasn't just given to her. She's worked so hard for this her entire life. And then she was nervous before the test. She knew what she was up against. She didn't know, though, about the people that she was going against until she kind of got a little hint from her teacher, Brigham. He kind of was like, no, girl, there's no need for you to be nervous until you see who your competition is, you know. But she was very, very nervous. She didn't know that she was ready. She was studying very hard. And it wasn't until she saw who was actually testing that she was like, I got this.
It makes me wonder if Brigham had her go last on purpose.
On purpose. I wonder if that's
so
true.
that he could see,
he
like,
knew her potential.
Yeah.
Like,
could hype
she
her
was
up.
Fine.
Be like,
she didn't believe she was fine until she saw the people in front of her.
That Duras dude, I don't know what bug went up his butt. I don't know what is that his name? It's Duras, right? Duras. I was like, what are you? He's petulant. Like, what? Like, he just like, well, thus far, what you've shown has been pretty womanly. And then he just like drops this big honking cauldron down. I'm like, dang. I'm sorry.
They
You're
are
probably gonna get there.
sexist and yeah.
When he
they're
said that like
sexist.
womanly thing, I was like,
I mean, she has, in my opinion, she has a right to be her feels and be very defensive over it, in my opinion.
and I feel like a lot of her attitude too is something that's been like just perpetuated over time. Like when you're someone who is ambitious and who is incredibly intelligent, but you're constantly being beat down by these like
Those type of remarks.
Well, not just the remarks, but just the system itself, you
Yeah.
know, like you're never going to be more than this. You're, all these things. Like, I mean, I'm sure it can, bitterness can take root, resentfulness can take root. So when you're finally with all these people, you feel like, oh, well, I got something to prove now. So I don't know. I'm with you, Mary. I go back and forth from being like, you rock too.
I feel like
I still like her a lot as a character. She's flawed in a way that humans are inherently flawed.
Yeah.
She's
well rounded,
and she's flawed in a way that can, like, you still connect with her because she's flawed because of the things, like the way her life trajectory is gone. It makes sense for her flaws that she does have. I'm just also very aware of that.
I do give her leeway for all of her flaws too, because she worked to be in her position. She's just not like naturally, I don't have to study and just know all this stuff. The fact that she was nervous about the testing lets me know she has spent her entire life devoted to this. And yeah, that has come off as like selfishness, but it's also a very important thing. This is not something that she's devoted her life to that's not going to help out the society. She is going into something that's going to really help out the society and, maybe make leaps and bounds in their beliefs in their system. And so I do.
But I don't feel like
some of her rudeness.
I don't feel like that's what she's in it for, though. Like, I don't
She
think.
wants the notoriety. But I mean,
Yeah. I don't think
that's
Sayana's
fine.
over there like, I'm doing it for the good of mankind. She's over here like, girl, I want to be the most powerful person in the room. Fuck y'all.
And you know what though? I'm like, that's fine because you're working your ass off for it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not expected to be handed that. To be the first woman to do this, to make these leaps and bounds. Like, she has ambition, and I applaud that ambition. Even if it hurts other people's feelings, I'm like, yeah, but ultimately, even though she's going to get the notoriety, it's still going to help the system. It's going to help everybody on the lower side. Hopefully, she'll use her powers for good. Hopefully. Because unfortunately, you got the people that get to that spot and then they don't change and nothing happens. So hopefully she can like change their world or change their system. I have a feeling their magic system is tied to the blight itself. That's my unhinged theory. Every time they access that thing, every time they do whatever they're doing, that blight is showing off.
Interesting.
I don't know though. That's my unhinged theory for tonight.
It's kind of like how magic always has to have a balance, kind of thing.
It's taken up from somewhere. We know this from witchcraft.
We know this from witchcraft. I learned that in Harry Potter.
I saw that from the craft.
Y'all ever watch Charmed?
So the magic system in this book, while it's very unique, it's very interesting, it's nothing like I've ever seen before, it is also extremely complex. There's no way that I'm even going to come close to explaining it like completely correctly. So I'm not really going to try. We're just going to like touch on things that seem important.
Do it.
I know, I'm waiting
Well,
because I'm like, Mary, enlighten me.
Well, it's funny because
it's you.
I was like, I'm not even going to try. And then I was like, I have to try some. So like there is some of the magic system. I try to explain it as simply as I can. But also I may have gotten some of it wrong. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can over here. It's
like
hard.
you're writing
It's hard. I'm
code.
just a girl.
Right? Did you feel like you're writing code for a computer program?
In fact, yes.
Very
The very first thing I said is,
HTML. She would have had a really cool MySpace.
I related it to computer coding. I'm old enough to remember the old DOS systems, so like that's what it felt like to me. We were doing a lot of command code. So they're using these spellographs, which are basically like a fancy typewriter situation, and they write out the different parts of the spell, including action spells, which name and command, and then you have sourcing spells, which involve mapping, targeting, and siphoning. So the first is telling it what it wants done to what, and then the second part is where they're telling it where it needs to go and how much energy is needed for that to happen. So when we get to chapter 3, Cyanna finally gets her chance to test. She easily gets through several rounds, much to the dismay of some of the other high mages there that are testing her. And it goes without saying that these are all men. So one of them gives her a final test, which is Duras, and it's to levitate this cauldron that he just like slams onto a desk. And it's so large that she goes over because she needs to figure out how much energy needs to be used. She's told to levitate it, and so she needs a certain amount of energy depending on how much it weighs, and it's so heavy she can't budge it at all, which means she can't tell how much it weighs, and she's just going to have to guess. So she guesses too much and ends up sending it, she sends it straight through the roof, and
It nearly kills her.
but immediately knowing where she went wrong, she's back at that spellograph and she's just typing away because she knows I went too much weight. All I have to do is correct that and it's going to work. And she keeps going despite the protests of Duras, who is trying to tell her that the test is over and she has to end and quit immediately. And she ends up fixing the spell and the cauldron levitates perfectly. And this was important because one of the things the Magistry is in desperate need of is these skilled mages with mapping expertise. And the mapping is what draws the large amounts of energy because apparently with the rapid growth of the city, these energy levels have not been able to keep up and it's caused these like rolling blackouts. Think like, I don't know, parts of California have had to do this. I know Texas had to do it at certain times. Catherine's house is doing it constantly.
I don't get blackout. Just a
Little dimmer.
Magic. It's because we're taking it from California.
Sorry,
Because of that balance.
So
We all be having them blackouts because it's coming to Catherine's house.
So afterwards, Duras tells her she's disqualified. She obeyed him and continued to work the spell after the test was over. Cyanna is devastated because she's like, I've worked this hard and all my chances have thrown out. I've just threw everything out the window. There's no way I've been disqualified, you know, all these things. She goes and vomits in the bathroom while her cousin is trying to console her. And her mentor, Brigham, arrives and announces that, ta-da, she has been accepted. You have been promoted. You are now an elite employee.
Wipe that vomit off your face, girl.
Now, let me tell you something. She got to know her results right then and there. As someone who was super nervous about testing for their physical therapy assistant boards, I had to wait 7 freaking days. I felt awful how she felt throwing up and after taking that, and see, she was confident in her test and I was like, oh no, I'm over here making contingency plans, and I felt like that for 7 days till I finally looked at my phone and I was like, pass, woo. So like I feel her, but at the same time I'm like, wow, I don't know how long that took, but that's nothing.
So her mentor tells her that she's going to be assigned to this new project that they're working on the barrier expansion for the city. And they want to use her mapping skills to look for ways to source the energy for that project. Cyanna is like super stoked. She's ready to get to work. She's already thinking of stuff in her head, how she's going to map out these spells and all the stuff she's going to do. And she's going to be one of several high mages that put in a proposal and presents it to the city at a meeting, which is going to be 12 weeks away, which seems like, to me, seems like a very tiny amount of time to like get all this together. But she doesn't seem super stressed about it. So in chapter 4, Cyanna she doesn't have a mother. I cannot remember for the life of me. Did she die giving birth to her, or is that Tamil?
I can't remember, but she doesn't.
She ain't got no parents.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So she's been.
But
She's a Disney
Do
princess.
you remember? Didn't she mentioned her father though, didn't she?
Her father's somewhere, but not with her. Her father is alive. He's just not in the picture. I
Yeah.
just don't know what he's doing.
I feel like he up and left or did something bad.
But she's being raised by her Aunt Winnie. And we do get this cute scene where Winnie is fussing over her right before she's getting ready to leave for her first day at work. as a high mage. And she's, making sure her clothes are all perfect and like trying to get her presentable. She's also kind of hinting that she needs to find herself a man, pop out some babies, which she has zero interest in. She's just like, no. She's like, I'm going to get me an apartment in the city and take care of myself.
See, I think this is where I connect with her. I think I was like, that's it. That's me.
You're like child free and happy.
I'm not as ambitious as she is.
I was like, you have a husband.
Well, I did get that. It's because he's like me. We have.
I think she's going to get herself a man here later.
I think she's gonna get herself a man too.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be cute.
You think it's gonna be her and it'll be her and Tommy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think too. That's what I think too. But I was just making sure we were on the same page.
She's just got to get over her
It's gonna be
prejudice
that
first.
forbidden love too. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of taboo for her to be with him. I'm like, y'all gonna get together.
She's already taboo. She's a woman in a male-dominated field. She's
That's
fine.
right. Might as well go for it, girl.
So on her way in, several neighbors and community members are super excited for her, offering her congratulations. And Sayana realizes that she doesn't even know their names. She's never taken the time to get to know any of these people, never interact with them. The poor baker's kid just keeps bringing her baked goods every time. Brought her some for her testing day, brought her some for the first day, brought her some scones, brought her some muffins. And she's like, who are you?
I'm sorry, but bruh, take a hint. She's just not that into you.
It was giving PETA from the Hunger Games. She's just like,
Have you looked in the back of the book?
Is it a pronunciation guide?
There's spell terminology,
Pronunciation guide.
is it a pronunciation?
the magical world, magical ranks, magical occupations and specializations. So
Oh dang.
I should have looked at that because I sure didn't.
So you know
before.
you know what else it needs? Pronunciation guide.
The spell terminology would have helped me with my recap. I did not look at the back of the
I
book.
didn't look at the back
I didn't.
either. Oops.
Also, I will say that so the magical ranks is helpful, and I'll touch on those really quick. So you got your student mage, and then you have a regular mage, and then, which is what Sayana currently was, and she just got promoted to high mage, which no woman has ever been. Her mentor is an archmage, which is the next one up, and then you have Archmage Supreme. So
Could you
Yeah.
imagine the first woman archmage and then supreme?
she
Good
could
girl.
be super
There's only one
badass.
Archmage Supreme.
Yeah.
There's only one.
She's already made history. Like
So on her way in, she runs into this like little girl who asks for her autograph, which is really cute, and wants her to sign her spell book. Sayana proceeds to then go through all of her books and basically be like, that's crap, don't read this.
I know. I was like, this poor little girl.
I know this little girl's like, huh?
She's like, it's in the syllabus. And she's like, I don't care, read something else. She ends up making her a list of all of these other books to help her get ahead, and like is explaining she needs to supplement and whatever. And I'm like, all I'm picturing is like a little girl, like just like
like maybe 8 years old. So that's what I was picturing.
She goes home and she was like, I really wanted to be a high mage, but now I'm kind of like,
maybe's not.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Or like Rebel Wilson and Pitch Perfect, like better not. Sometimes sometimes I think I can do crystal meth. Was that what it was? But then I think better not. Is that what it was? I haven't watched that in a long time.
That's a pretty good recap though.
Better not.
She does end up promising to get the little girl an autograph of an archmage. And I will say this does tell you a little bit about her thinking, because she doesn't think her autograph is valuable, even though she's now the only woman to have ever even made high mage. She still doesn't consider that like valuable as far as like a currency. And so she's like, I'll get you an archmage autograph.
When that kind of lets you know how bad their system is and how bad the sexism is. She just became the first woman of something, and she's made history. And even in her mind, she's like, well, this isn't going to be worth anything because the men won't let it be, you know?
Right.
Bless.
So she finally arrives at the magic center, and she isn't sure where her laboratory is. And she runs into a janitor who offers to walk her to it. On the way, they run into several other high mages, including the newest addition, Jaren Mordra, who was the nepotism hire and sucked at magic. So you're kind of like, well, he's going to be useless. But I don't want to be super harsh on him yet, because he hasn't necessarily done anything negative to her or been mean to her. He's just sort of there and kind of clumsily there. So I'm not passing judgment on him yet.
And maybe he'll
Are we talking
get
about
better.
Mordra?
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe he'll get better. You know what I mean? Like, he has room to grow. I just don't like this. I don't hate him. I just hate the system.
I'll tell you
Like,
what I
it's
do
just not
hate,
fair.
and that is Renthorn.
Yes.
Renthorn is a whole nother.
So another is Cleon Renthorn, who is the son of an archmage, and so also nepotism. And he also but he is
But
there for his
unfortunately, he's
talent.
actually really
He's good. And
Yes.
she admits he's good.
Yes. In fact, at first she's kind of excited that he's there and tries to be polite because they both interned under Brigham. She recognizes his talent. She tries to be polite, compliments his work, but he is completely rude to her, implying she could never fill his shoes. All the other high mages that are with them are also pretty equally rude to her and assume she won't be able to keep up or be as good as them. And they explain that they were showing Madra to his new assistant, and then Renthorn announces that, shucks, we're short on assistants, so I guess you could just take Tommy here. And Tommy ends up being the janitor who's showing her around.
And he calls him the Blighter.
Yes.
Which
That felt
apparent-
dirty reading it. Like, that's not a nice thing to call anybody.
Yeah.
Like, that was rude. That was very rude. It felt so uncalled for.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because it goes, and because when you first see it, you're like, okay, well, that seems like that's probably not nice. Then it's like, oh, it's not nice. Got it. Like, so I guess it's part of that's more of a class. I don't know if even classist.
Well,
It's just straight up, would it be just racist? Because he's.
I think,
from a
I mean,
different-
I think it's xenophobia because I think that's anybody who's not from Tehran. They seem to have all come there to escape the blight, hence blighters. Like they were all running from the blight. But yeah, it's very aware that no one in this, even,
like, let's throw you out there and see
Even-
if you run from it.
yeah, even Sayana does not seem to think very highly of like the Quen people or these people who have come in from outside of the city. She assumes they're all
empathizes
stupid.
with them, but she knows that they're not.
I feel like with her, as much as she, and I think this is something that she'll probably maybe even realize, but as much as she also is against the system, she is also very much a part of it. Because,
Part of the system.
Like,
Yes.
because while she doesn't understand why she's treated differently because she's a woman, she is then turning around and thinking differently of someone.
Yes.
who,
But you
like-
can see her working on that though.
Yeah.
Like when she finds out that his name is not Tommy, and he corrects and says, "Actually, my name is y'all." The reason I'm having to call him Tommy is not because I'm talking down to his character, is because I don't know. I would like to hear him
Well, they
tell
do-
me so I could do it, do him
Well, he was
justice.
Tommy for a good minute there. so
Yeah,
I
and
don't
he
know.
might still be Tommy till I hear an audiobook and be like, "This is how you say it." Like, it's no disrespect, but
gotta
I don't
find
know
this.
how to say your name, and I would love to say it right. So Thamil it is, because once she learns that, she does call him correctly by his name. Like, she does have a respect for him, but it only goes so far because she knows that his station
Is below her.
Station is below
Okay,
her.
Tommy is the tyrannization of my name. My proper called-in name is Tamil. Damil? No. You sort of touch your tongue to the upper teeth where you make the
You just
sound.
You make the
Don't breathe through. It's just a tap. Tamil.
Thamil.
Tamil.
Tamil.
Thamil.
Tamil. Someone needs to get the audiobook.
Somebody.
I've already looked up the
respect
fan
this
art because I
character
wanted
the
to
way
know what
he
they
needs
look
to be
like. Because
respected.
I will say, there's like these little details that are really neat that's in there where like she's cut off all her hair so she would blend in more with the men, you know, and stuff. So she's got like short hair. And so, yeah, it's just like there's a lot of like really neat, intricate details that the author has taken care and woven in. So the world feels very alive and accurate and honest, I guess. So Sayana knew that assigning the janitor, also the foreign Quen man, as her assistant was done as an insult. But she also knows that if she reacts in any way that's negative, that they're going to call her too soft, she can't handle the job. So she just decides to go along with it. Once back at the lab, Sayana begins to think that Tommy, as an assistant, might not be so bad, because while all the other high mages and archmages use mages and like student mages and other mages to help them and assist them, they also basically use them to do part of the work. She doesn't want that. She plans to do all of the work herself. She just needs someone who can follow directions and instructions, like to a T. And he seems to be really good at that. So she's like, maybe this could work. And so Tommy's a little hesitant. He's very aware that he's not qualified for such what's considered a prestigious role, both in class nor in knowledge, but he agrees to it. His first assignment from her is just to unbox and alphabetize her books. And this is where you start to see a lot of her own ingrained bias and prejudice, because she's watching him thinking he's just like looking at these books and kind of like running his finger over them. And she's like, he can't read. Great. And he surprises her by asking whether she wants them alphabetized by author or by title, proving not only can he read, but he's also way more clever than she could have ever imagined that this like mere Quen man
She
would
puts
be.
him in a box.
She
She's
does.
not mean or rude to him, but she does put him in a box. Like,
Yeah.
no,
And she makes a lot of assumptions just
she does.
based on, I don't even know, I guess just ingrained in their society what they all think.
He's
Well, and
from Quinn.
she grew up with them as kind of like in a neighbor. You know, they're not from like an expensive neighborhood,
wonder
but
if-
she never really took the time to get to know them or know their culture or anything.
She didn't even get to know her neighbor.
That's true.
How
She
long,
has flaws.
how long has it been from the time that he crossed over to he's the janitor? I wonder.
Did it say?
I'm thinking a year.
Like,
Because he said he'd been working there for a year, but I don't know if that's his first job or if he's had previous jobs.
yeah.
I guess when we hopefully we'll hear about his sister,
Niece.
his niece. We'll hear
Finding
about
out
her.
how old she is will help. Because she
Yeah.
was pretty tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't know in these set of chapters. It'll be interesting to find out.
So as the day goes on, she eventually has to go to the bathroom. Since there are no women that have ever been high mages, and that's all that works on that floor, she has to go down a level to go to the bathroom. It was giving very hidden figures, you know, the first black women who worked with NASA. She had to go to the bathroom. She had to like run clear across. And then they yelled at her because they were like, what took you so long? So she decides this, she doesn't want to deal with the other high mages. And she's like, I'm going to sneak back to my lab through the library because she knows the library super well. And she ends up running into Renthorn again. And let me tell you, this exchange, I was channeling Theo Vaughn. I was like, what a fucking bitch, man. Honestly, if I had a damn missile. I hated this man so much.
All we can do is pray for her.
I hate this man. So he accuses her of only getting the job because of either sleeping with the mentor Brigham or like him wanting to sleep with her. So he promoted her from favoritism for that. Or there's so many like insinuations that he like glosses over really quickly in like a very short section that just has me just like, but because Brigham's like twice her age too. Like she mentions in there, he's like, she could be my father. Like that's gross. He also tries to insinuate that the council only let her on for political reasons because again, we were talking about that election that's happening and one of the candidates near us is running on women's rights and she's very popular and they were trying to impress her. So they were like, oh, let's just let this woman in. So just
belittles her.
all of these things where he's just basically telling her she's not good enough to be there. You're obviously not good enough. These are the only way you could have ever gotten in.
And he hasn't even seen her work. He wasn't there.
He also lets her know that he has 4 research assistants that are all mages because his time is valuable and everybody knows it.
I found that interesting. Because, like, they had none to spare for her.
Yeah.
And he has 4.
And then he pointedly asks about, you know, her assistant and how that's working out, you know, the janitor, while he's got 4 of these like mages helping him. So determined to prove him wrong and that she has the skill to be there and deserves her spot, she tells him that she plans to put forth a better sourcing plan than him and says whoever's plan that gets chosen in the end by the council will prove who was the pointless political hire, which like irks him, obviously, because of course then Renthorn pulls this, it was just a joke. You're just being sensitive because you're a girl.
That must have struck a chord, though, for him to be like, it was just a joke. Like, you know, for him not to just like go with it. Like, yeah, I guess we'll see who submits the, you know, like he has to be aware of something.
I think,
for her
I
to be
actually do
so
think
quick.
he knows that, well, you said he'd never seen her work. I think he actually knows she has talent. I think he's threatened by her.
Unless he has talked to Brigham about it. But I mean, I was just saying he didn't see her test.
Like,
No,
they
but
crossed
they-
paths for a very short amount of time.
In Brigham.
They overlapped, and I think, I mean, like, it seems like if you worked under Brigham, you had to excel. He only seemed to pick the best of the best. So I think he knows she's good.
And
And
she
for her
made
to
it.
have
She's the
passed,
first woman
she's
there.
good. Yeah. I think
Like-
he's very aware. I think he's also very threatened by that. So he's like, oh, I'll just, you know, he's playing the mental game. I'm going to make her feel like she can't do it. And then she's going to fuck it up. And then I'm going to be like, it's because you're a girl.
He probably wasn't expecting her to like bite back because like the way that he
Yes.
kind of retreated there at the end, I was like, okay, wimp. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like that's kind of, I was like, okay, like you're not all claws. Like,
Yeah. And then he's like, you're not going to survive being here if you're that sensitive. And I was like, blah, blah, blah. Throat
Well,
punch
again,
you.
it's like if a woman has the same reaction a man would. Oh, we're just hysterical. We're hysterical, right? Why are you
Don't
so
be
up
so
in arms?
dramatic.
Dude, you guys complain. You guys do the same thing. Heaven forbid, as a woman, I do it. I'm just on my period.
I was
You know
going to
what I
say
mean?
she must be on her period.
She must be on her period.
Go to the emergency room. Do you have anxiety? Have you thought about losing weight?
Have you thought?
Obviously, that's what's causing your chest. That gunshot wound is just anxiety.
For me, I am in my luteal phase. Which arguably I do feel like I'm nicer during my menstrual phase than my luteal phase. I'm learning that.
Like, but to be fair.
Like, if someone's like, you're just on your period, I'm like, joke's on you, it's my luteal phase.
So Sayana goes back to the lab. She gets Tommy. She's like, quit unpacking. We got work to do. Like, let's go. So in chapter 5,
I
Sayana
just
realized,
pictured her like busting through. Tommy!
let's get to work. But Sayana realizes Tommy needs to understand the basics of how magic and spell work is done. So she decides she's going to teach him that if
And
he's
to be
going
fair, she doesn't
assist her.
even know where to start. So, I mean, honestly, if she can't, we surely can't.
Yeah. So apparently there's 2 types of prominent religions in Tehran. There's Leonite, which believes that God opened the other realm where energy is drawn from for them to like use. And then there's Teresian, you get the idea, which believes that God created the other realm and the energy. And apparently most of the other mages, like if you are a mage, a high mage, an archmage, those people are all, they believe that God created this energy. Sayana is a Leonite, which is apparently very unusual. And so she only believes that he opened the realm and opened access to it, which she jokes to Tamil, like, don't judge me for that, you know, because he's kind of surprised that that's what she believes. And she's like, it's because I was on the wrong side of the tracks.
I'm just over here like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, so.
Her
Take
joke
from
went over my head too.
Well, and I think it's like, it's very much, she's going against the grain once again, you know, even in her like religion. But through this teaching process, Tommy keeps up really well. He's asking all the really good questions, which again surprises Sayana and also exposes that bias and prejudice again as well, because she often puts like his land down, like where he came from, in her inner monologue, and saying things like, oh, he's sharper than the average Quinn, and you know, just insinuating that she assumes they're all like uneducated, stupid, unable to keep up, you know, and all those things.
Stupid's a little harsh.
So she explains that sourcing spells or sourcing focuses on finding and pulling energy, which is why mapping is so important, because without it, you're just kind of blindly grasping at the energy and you never know how much you're getting. But by knowing with mapping, you know exactly where the energy is and how much you're getting. And so you can get more complicated or bigger amounts of energy, and that requires a series of sourcing spells, which she calls a spell web. She proceeds to show him a spell and how it works, and during that explains in like really simple analogies that she thinks he'll understand what happens if it's done wrong and how dangerous it can be. Tommy asks if that would be what happened, like what would happen with the West End bridge collapse, which Sayana again is surprised that he knows anything about it, but not because she thinks he's dumb, but because the university tried to cover it up and didn't want anybody to really know about it, because one of the archmages was responsible for it and he screwed up and he was forced into retirement afterwards. Tommy tells her that he lived near there and 2 of his neighbors died in that bridge collapse, which is why he knows about it. And again, Sayana's surprised because she didn't know of any deaths and there was none reported. But then she realizes that they never would have reported that a Quen died because they're only a Quen. No one cares about them.
They were only Quinn.
Which I was like, poor Tommy.
Wait, you coughed because it went down the wrong pipe?
Yeah.
Just those 2 little coughs.
Yeah.
When something goes down the wrong pipe for me, I'm like down for the count for like 10
I know.
minutes.
I'm like,
what the heck? She literally coughs and then she's like, wrong pipe, and then it's done. Like, what?
I sound like I need to go to the emergency room when it goes
I
down
know.
the
I'm
road.
over here like something was brought down the wrong pipe for me. We had to stop the podcast so I could use my inhaler. And she had 2 coughs and she was done.
I usually turn like multiple shades, like red to purple.
With your lungs.
She's like, I'm so dainty and cute. Can't go out.
Sorry. I was just pretty amazed by that because I was like, oh, we're going to have to stop. And then she's just like, oh, let's just move on. And we're only Quinn. Anyway.
So she assures Tommy after this that she doesn't do sloppy work and isn't careless, and that by working together, they're going to create, spell work and magic, and they're going to do good work that matters, that's going to help society, and there won't be this destruction and these disasters because, she wants to do better than that because that was careless magic and she doesn't do that, basically. So it's getting late, and as they're preparing to leave, she hears the other high mages invite Madra out for a drink to celebrate, which is customary for all the new mages, which, of course, she is not invited. She pretends she's not hurt, but she's obviously hurt, which I'm like, girl, you don't want to go with them. They're going to be mean to you anyways. But Tommy encourages her to leave before missing her train back home. And she says that she's going to be sleeping in her lab, which is why he had to unpack a bedroll earlier for her. Tommy then shyly invites her out for a drink, offering to buy her one because he overheard and oversaw, this conversation that happened. And he picks up on things pretty quickly and pretty easily. And he seems to be able to read her really well and can tell that she was hurt by that. And she's actually kind of insulted that he asked. And then Tommy gets embarrassed, but also a little insulted that she's insulted. And eventually they agree to have drinks together, separate, but like they'll each just pay for their own and celebrate their own promotions.
It's a pretty good compromise.
I think they're funny
people...
because they're both so touchy. She's like, I'm a woman, so I'm gonna get offended because everyone thinks poorly of women, and he's like, I'm Quinn, and I'm gonna be insulted because everyone looks down on Quinn. And then it's like they're not realizing
they're canceling each other out.
Yeah, I know. They gotta get some common ground here.
But I thought that was a good compromise. No one got offended. She's like, we'll just take care of it separately. We'll go together.
I love when he's he suggests he's like if the dancing wolf isn't beneath her, and she's like, yeah. It's
to be fair, he had a right to think that. So he's got her in a little box as well, and he's got his right to put her in that little box. So.
What he looks at her the way that she looks at the archmages, and it's very much the same. And she doesn't seem to get that because she's the one that is being discriminated against. So she's this weird.
She's like, stop looking up to me. It's weird.
But she is kind of figuring it out, in her little inner monologue. She's like, oh, what I thought and what I just did was inappropriate, or that's not right, so I feel like she's trying versus just brushing it off.
Well, and I will say, in her defense, I think you can kind of equate to her to, I don't know if you've ever met or been around someone who someone who went to med school, right? So you go to high school, and then you go to college, and then you go to med school, and then you go to sometimes you have to do a specialty, and then you got your residency, and they are the most socially awkward people sometimes. They just have no social skills because they didn't have to all they did was study. And I kind of do feel a little bit Sienna's like that. All she's focused on is her studying and her magic and the spell work. And so when it comes to people, she's just not good with people. She just doesn't know all the time how to do that.
This is her first friend, y'all. She even she's like, I made a friend.
I know. She gets so excited.
And it's a win. Look at me. Look at how accepting I am. That's sorry.
But it's her first friend. I was like, oh.
I'm gonna enjoy seeing how this friendship
develops
because it's very funny watching them right now. They're both working it out.
I think they're cute though.
They are cute. They are cute.
So they don't go to the bar near the Magic Center because, one, it's expensive, and she is able to kind of cipher out that Tommy probably wouldn't be able to afford to go there, or it would be, an imposition. It would put him out if she took him there. But also she's worried the other high mages are probably hanging out there, and she doesn't want to run into them. So they instead go to this Quinn-owned bar. At that bar, they talk, and Tommy asks her why she does the job she does when she's treated so poorly by the others. And she explains that it's not for the love of it. Her cousin, Alba, and Winnie, these are loving people who do things out of love. Everything they do is out of love. And she is not like that. She does everything for power. She's addicted to it. She's addicted to power, magic, and just wants more of that and is constantly craving that. And that women's work, all the other work that she could do, is what is considered women's work. And that all requires caring for others in some capacity. And that's just something she just doesn't have. She doesn't care about others. And when she's making spells and doing this magic and pulling this energy, she is the most powerful. And women never get to be powerful anywhere else in their life. And so for her, that's it. That's what she wants to do. And so
I say go for it. She's going against the grain. And what she does, even though it's not for other people, it will be for other people. Expanding their little bubble would be the best thing for them. You know, because they are the population, they're gonna outgrow it. They're gonna have to expand. Even any inventions that she comes up with, it's gonna be hers, and it's still gonna be for the people. Like the train system, their lighting system, you know, all that stuff. She'll be able to contribute to society if she gets that power. And she can change their whole sexist ways and their whole voting system. I don't even, do they vote? I don't even know.
they do
Well,
vote
there's an
because that's what the
yeah.
election's for.
So maybe
And
she can
I will say, I
change
think
that.
there's,
Have
like
a
I said, I
school
think
for
that-
women for magics.
I think the politics are going to, I don't know what, we haven't gotten real deep into the politics, but I think the politics are going to come up here as we continue on. I also, something shady. There's something shady happening.
What?
I don't know what it is yet.
What?
But
in
there's,
government?
yeah, there's some shady shit going down. So, yeah.
But they're,
Politics and religion.
but they're so honest.
Yeah, there's never any corruption or malfeasance.
None. I, for one, am shocked.
This is my shocked face. So Sayana is used to being able to keep up or even outdrink men because she has had to do that to sort of establish dominance in the situation when she goes out and hangs out with these other mages. And she quickly realizes that Tommy is easily outpacing her in the drinking department, and he is not drunk at all. While in the meantime, her speech is slurred. She is struggling. She's quite intoxicated. And he offers to walk her back because it's dangerous for her to be out alone. And she drunkenly decides to show him her like belt of cylinder conduits, which apparently look like oversized lipstick tubes, I guess is how they sort of explain it. But it's where you can store pre-written spells. Tommy seems very concerned about these. Like he's like looking at them as like a weapon. He's like, these things are dangerous. And she's just waving them around drunkenly. So he's like, let's put those maybe away. And he quickly removes it from her and puts it back in her bag. And during this, like, he keeps calling her ma'am. He has since he met her. And Sayana tells him to stop calling her ma'am and just use her name. And he agrees as long as she'll stop calling him Tommy, which Catherine kind of read the little excerpt of where that's like,
Where
it happened.
not
It
having Tommy too, if we
Well, it's happened in a lot of societies. It's happened in America when people would come over on the boat originally. If their name was difficult, they just would give them a different name that was easier to say or pronounce. It's very much like that. They couldn't pronounce Tamil, so they just called him Tommy. He takes her back to the magic center, and she realizes once she's in her cot that there was no way, she doesn't remember getting there, like walking, and there was no way, as drunk as she was, she could manage the stairs. And so she realizes that Tomil has carried her.
And he still smells of sage and water, which I think it's like so shocking. She's like, I just expected him to smell horrible.
So then in chapter 6, Thomil arrives in the lab early the next morning to a very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed Sayana, who has been up for hours and is several teas in. She's ready to start her day. Those teas also apparently work as, like, she's got like a cure, like a hangover tonic situation happening. She has him wear an assistant's coat, which he worries is against the rules, but she apparently has, in her time awake, has been studying all the books, and she has assured him that she has found it nowhere in any of the handbooks that it is not against the rules and that he can wear it. Sienna also continues to teach him about magic and spell work, moving on to mapping, where they draw energy from specific coordinates. Some coordinates are forbidden and off limits and use what's considered as dark magic. I feel like this might end up being like a whole thing later. And I'm wondering, is it not forbidden? Are they just telling them it's forbidden? Like, something's up with that. But anyway, so a previous high mage, Saber, I'm gonna screw that all up. This other
No
guy.
worse than I butcher everything. It doesn't matter.
So previous high mage Sabernin, probably wrong, used it supposedly to murder his rivals, and he was eventually put to death because it was considered dark magic to draw energy from these like forbidden coordinates, which seem to be, I guess, mainly in the middle, like right smack dab in
And
the
I
middle.
wonder if that was like the blight happening in their bubble, and it's something they covered up. Like, don't pick it from here, because that's where we are, right in the smack dab middle of the thing. So, I mean, think about it. I don't
that could
know.
be.
I don't know. It's just an unhinged theory. First 25% of the book.
I feel like I don't even understand enough to know.
I see what you're saying. So what you're saying, Elizabeth, is the coordinates are just the land itself. And so when they're pulling energy from these other coordinates, it's the Quen, it's these other
It's outside the
neighboring,
bubble.
and that's the blight. And so when your theory is that forbidden center is their city.
I feel
And so when
like
he
it's-
pulled from there, he caused blight to happen within their little.
Right. Exactly. That's my
It's a good
theory.
theory.
Now, I could be way
That's a good
off,
theory,
'cause
though.
I
It's a
have
good theory.
No freaking clue. No freaking clue. It could be something completely different.
I think that's a good theory.
It's just
I'm gonna roll
odd.
with
I like it. I like it.
I like it.
Point on the board
Watch
for
me do
Elizabeth.
And then if you're like, wow, she was so far off. Because that happens a lot.
So her mentor shows back up, Brigham, and he knows that she's been treated poorly on her welcome, and so he's there to kind of like make sure she's doing okay and encourage her. He tries to tell her it has nothing to do with her being a woman, and that it's because they view her as a threat because of her talent. I agree with him to an extent. I do think it's also because she's a woman, but I also think it's because she's a woman and a threat. And for them, it's like you're competition, but you're also a woman, and I can't be beat by a woman because like to
yeah.
them that's less than. You know, so like, how dare you? So I like agreed with him, but I also was like, well, it's also because she's a woman.
Well, I think that they would be threatened if she's a man too, but it adds insult to injury that she's a woman.
Yes, yes.
Imagine if a Quinn was doing it. Oh,
Or a Quinn woman.
Quinn woman.
Just racking it up.
That I think that he is right and she is right. I think they are threatened by her. I think they are threatened and concerned because she's a woman. Like, you know,
Yes.
getting shown.
And I think
up.
they're honestly offended that she's a woman.
Yes.
Like she's there, and how dare you? How dare you think you can even be amongst us?
Like, why did you even test?
Right. So he offers to get her a real assistant, which Sayana refuses. She's happy that she can talk to Tamil, and she's like kind of starting to view him as a friend, and that's something she's never had before. So she's pretty excited. And I'm like, girl, if you just would have maybe talked to somebody, you could have had some friends. That's it. But she has him sign, she has the Archmage sign the spell book, which this was really cute because she has him sign the spell book, but Tomil fetches it for her without her ever even asking, which I thought was like a really like, it was just like one line and it was really tiny, but it showed how he's already reading what she needs without her having to say anything. And it's showing how well they're going to work together, you know?
That was quick.
It was so cute too. But so he brings her the book and it's for that little girl. And Brigham has her sign it too because he tells her that her signature will be valuable one day. Like she's the first
I like
woman.
Brigham for
Didn't
that.
even
I
remember
did.
the girl's name. Like,
I know he asked what's her name, and she's like, oh, no.
well, and I think that's the funny thing to me is that, like, we talk about selfishness and stuff like that, but, like, I mean, and don't get me wrong, people are bad with names. Like, that's not, like, I'm not trying to say, but, like, it's, like, even you see it as, like, a thing around her. She doesn't pay attention to anybody.
She's just in her own world, in her own
Yeah.
zone.
To
And
be
in some
fair-
ways, again, I'm giving her some lenience because I think she's just been so focused on getting ahead, and it's so much work and there's so much against her that she's had to focus so much and kind of close out and shut out.
And some of it's not even selfishness per se. It's more just, like, self-prioritizing. Or,
Right.
Yes.
I,
you know-
I am guilty of that. I cannot remember a patient's name to save my life, which is good because HIPAA. But I am very well aware of their condition. So, like, if Mary is my patient, you know, and I've
You're
just
like,
met
neck.
her, I'm focused on neck. This is what
Yeah.
works. This is not what works. This is what I can try. This is what I can, you know, I'm focused on help. I'm sorry if I don't know your name. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's you're in the zone. You're focused. You're like, this is the cause. I'm trying to fix it. What can I do to? And it is a fun little puzzle, you know.
So after Brigham leaves, Tomil and Sayana return to work, but she sees Tamil watching where Brigham had left and like kind of staring after him. And he has this like just this lot of tension around him. And she thinks that he's worried, that he thinks that she got this job for favoritism because of how Brigham has been treating her, how he's showing up and doing all these nice things, and how reassuring of her he is. So she assures him that she did not get this job for favoritism. And he says he knows because he's been working there for a year, and he's never seen anyone care about their work the way that she does. And Tomil starts asking about Brigham's specialty, which is in textile production. And Sayana explains all the different things he produces in his factories. And Tomil's expression goes really dark. So Tomil, and that's all we get. Tomil definitely knows something that we don't. And I feel that Brigham isn't maybe such a good guy. That as Sayana thinks he is, and that we, have been led to believe as a reader, because we're only getting Sayana's point of view. And this is her mentor and someone she looks up to. So this is all we're getting. But I feel like Tomil knows a little bit more is happening.
I know.
And I'm thinking that Brigham might be a little...
He's going to be turning. That's sad because he's really been the only one to
support her.
Get
but he might not be sexist, but what if he's just after her for her talent and her power and her...
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they even say he has
and
a
it's
knack for picking out the strongest students and the smartest students.
And who's super easy to manipulate is someone like her who's desperate to get in this position and do these things, and then to please him and make him happy because he helped get her there, and she's the first woman, and so those people can be really easily manipulated by using that against them. So I'm so at the end of the chapter, Sayana compliments Tomil for being able to keep up with her and with her teachings and putting up with his quirks. He mentions that Quinn must learn to bend to tyrannish quirks for the job, because if they can't work, they can't live. And Sayana sort of laughs at him and calls him being melodramatic. And it obviously hurts Tomil pretty badly. And he promises to just be quiet and listen. And he kind of shuts down on her. And she does clock it. She doesn't know why he does that, but she clocks that he shifts and changes, and she feels bad about that. But
take a hint.
Right. I'm poor Tomil. And I'm how clueless are you to your own society? I know you're shutting out other people, but the fact that she says she's not I'm not super aware of politics, all because I'm laser focused on just this one thing. But I'm do you not know what's happening in the community around you?
So I guess the assumption is that she doesn't know, period, that they're getting killed, and so in her mind, he's being dramatic. They don't surely they don't kill you if
right.
Do you think that? That's probably.
Yes. I'm assuming that she has no clue, because she's not. Again, she
doesn't strike me as a person that would be
She doesn't care about and not And I don't want it to come across as she's the worst, because she's not. But she doesn't care about anybody else. She cares about herself and her focus and her studies and her, the things that she's striving for, her ambition.
I don't think she knows.
So she has shut out everything else. She doesn't have a clue what's going on in the community.
She doesn't even know that she
unless it affects her directly. Then she's aware of it. So she's aware of what's happening in the common communities, because that's where she's from. But she's not from Quinn. She doesn't interact with Quinn. So she's just that doesn't happen. But I will say, Tomil, immediately, I love him.
Yeah, I do too.
I love him. He's kind, and he's smart, and he's brave, and he's been through hell. And I just, you don't get much of him, but I love him already.
I applaud her willingness to try and overcome her own prejudice. I don't even think she realizes necessarily that that's what she's doing, but she is, taking the steps to do that. And I think that, is something. I
think through Tomil, she's going to learn about her own, prejudices more and grow as a character, which is what, as a reader, I want to see. I want to see my characters improve and grow.
Because
the thing is that when it comes to prejudices, a lot of times people don't even realize they have them until they're faced with it, right? Because for her, I'm sure in her mind, she doesn't realize that she's prejudiced against Quinn. It's just, these are what Quinn are, right? This is what's been touted to her, Quinn are uneducated. Quinn apparently don't bathe. Like, what, you know, whatever, like these things. And that's just, in her mind, that's just factual. That's not her being prejudiced, right? And so now it's kind of coming up like, oh, wait.
It's also what her own government is probably teaching her.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
She's in school and you're taught to have that, like, hey, you're what's the society they're in? You're this.
Tyran.
You know, you should
Tyrannish.
have pride. Yeah, you should have tyrannish pride, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
so
and
she's not thinking like.
I think through this process, she's going to realize, like, oh, what I've been kind of led to believe my entire life is not how it is, and these people are actually being treated really poorly. And I think that she's going to have a lot of character growth through that, because, like we said, you know, Gwen is treated one way, women are treated one way. It's just, you know.
In her childhood, like going back to the beginning of chapter 6, you know, she wakes up, she's got that hangover, and she's like, that's when she realizes, I've made a friend. And she's like, has that ever happened before? You know, she questions that. And she goes on to say, no one had come to her defense in the schoolyard when the other children had tired of her pedantic lip and decided to push the overachieving orphan into the mud. No one had risked the stink of associating with the underclass Leonite when all that uppity overachieving got her transferred to Danworth. No one had invited her when her classmates went for drinks after Danworth graduation or university graduation after that. She had always picked herself up, dusted off her skirts, and gone back to work on her own. So she's always been kind of, you know, as far as only caring about herself and her being selfish, some of that was probably taught, you know, from how
no one else is
going
to care about me, so I'm not going to care about
She's just
anybody
like, no one's nice to me. They're
So
pushing me in the
protection.
mud. She's like, I'm focusing on my work. My work doesn't push me in the mud. No one's ever invited her to go out. That doesn't make what she's doing wrong, though. You know, or right, I guess I should say. Just because people are rude to you doesn't mean you shouldn't try and see if
I
you
think
can
there's just going to be a
establish
lot of
some
like
friendships.
self-discovery, a lot of
Yeah.
like, hey, maybe this is not, because I mean, finding out that Bringham's maybe not all that he seems is going to be pretty
Yeah,
wild. I mean,
and
there's
I think there's going to be.
Friend Ansel, what was his name?
Ansel.
Ansel would have been her friend.
And she would have had
She's
like
like-
so many baked goods. I mean,
Yeah, girl, what's wrong with
I
that?
would've-
I
You
would've
gotta
gone
get
for
your friend
Ansel.
with the baked goods.
The baked goods. I think there's going to be a lot of like uncovering of like corruption within the magic system itself too, which is what she believes in. I think it's going to really not necessarily break her, but like break her free from like this path she thought she was on, and it's going to shift significantly.
I think she's going to be able to use her magic for something far greater than just these barriers.
It's probably going to
Yes.
break their religion too. You know, right now they're like, God opened a portal or God created it. And I wonder if she's going to find something to where, it was actually man-made. Or, you know, I don't know. Like, I feel like we got a lot of potential in this book when it comes
There's
to
a
religion
lot of
and
potential.
politics.
I am very invested. I was invested from chapter 1, and it's been super interesting. I'm excited to see where it goes. It is complex. It's not hard to follow, but there are times where I've just had to be like,
Well,
it just
I
kept
think
going
As
until
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
learning the magic system, and I use that word loosely because I don't know that I actually learned anything, but I do feel like the author did a good job in trying to convey what she was meaning. Like, I liked the garden analogy. I felt like I could grasp that. And I feel like
And
you're
even the
writing
pipe,
code,
the water
you know?
through a pipe analogy
Yeah.
was really good. I like her analogies. Her brain is way bigger than mine. I can't
don't
even
know how
begin
she
to
fit this in
fathom.
a little book.
Yeah, I can't.
There's a lot.
I can't-
I feel like this book should be thicker, but
Yeah,
we're
I
doing
can't
this
even
much.
imagine how she mapped out this and came up with this magic system. Like, to me, it's insane. Just like, that's a lot.
I think if you're a reader, like if you like the politics, you like the religion, you like things that kind of challenge you a bit, then I feel like this is going to be a good book to do that. But if you are a vibes reader, I don't know. The first 25% may get to you. Now we'll find out like how much more in depth of the magic system we need to learn. That might be it. Maybe what we've learned is all we need to know, and the rest is going to be like a vibing. You just, don't have to think hard. I don't know that that's going to be the case, but I don't know that this is going to be a vibing book, but I like it.
It's very thought-provoking.
It is.
It is, and it's incredibly well written.
Detailed.
She's very detailed with just like, and it's without being overwritten. It's very simple. Like, but it's
Written
just
well.
it's so well done because she just drops these little things in that make it so, with a few words, you understand the emotions that are being felt, or, you know, what's happening in that scene. And it's just, and all these little details that really weave into
I feel
the
like
world.
this is a good conversational piece too. You know, how we're able to pick up on the problems, as problematic as this world is, we're able to like pick up on all of this, and I feel like it sparks a good debate on her character development, the development of the entire society, like what's going on. I feel like this is a good.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I will say, this poor society, though, if it could be a bad thing, they've got it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, they've got all of the isms. Like, they've got
They got all of the
racism. They got. They just.
Society.
I mean, I'm like, good Lord, could anybody do any?
Nope. The answer is no. Are we reading to chapter 12 or 13?
We're doing so this next week we'll be doing chapters 7 through 12.
Okay, so we'll stop at the end of 12.
Yes.
So that's
So we read through to 12.
100
through
pages.
12.
It's my wedding anniversary on Wednesday, so
What you
9
guys
years,
doing?
y'all. 9 years. So
I'm trying to think what we hit this year. I think we hit 17 years this year. I don't know. It's been a long time.
This September will be 12 years for us. Yep. We actually get a little bit of a date this weekend because my mom and dad want to take the kids to go see Mario in theater. So I told James that, and he was like, heck yeah, date day. And I was like, well, the movie only lasts like a couple of hours. And he was just
it's
like,
long enough.
he was like, I'm sure they'll keep them.
He's like, I'm done in 13 minutes.
Okay.
I guess you guys won't be going out for date night.
Well, I don't
Can't
think
leave in the
that
bedroom.
was necessary. She's like, she's also ugly. I actually think we are going to go somewhere. I don't know where.
After that 13 minutes is up.
He mentioned clothes shopping because he needs some pants for work.
Spicy date night.
Date day, the movie's like at noon.
Even sexier.
Better.
Nothing like a noon shop for khakis.
What
He won't
happens
listen
at
to
almost
this.
12 years
He's not
in.
going to listen to it.
I'm going to make him listen to it now.
It's always my number one turn on, the khaki department.
Yep. I didn't say it was like a spicy date. I just said it was a date. I didn't go
quality
into
time.
detail.
You didn't have to.
Hey, we're going to read through chapter 12 in Blood Over Brighthaven.
So, we will see.
I forgot it.
Such a wacky with it.
We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.